Hey guys, so we're going to be doing some MCAS questions. This is 2019 spring grade 10 test, a mathematics test. So, first question, which of the following is equivalent to the expression? We're going to be starting distribution. There's a term in front of a parentheses, that means I need to distribute. So, 5x, negative 5x times negative 6x is positive 6x squared. So 5x times 6x, negative 6x squared is positive 30x to the cube. Okay? Let's rewrite that. Positive 30x to the cube, because rule of exponents. When you are multiplying, you would add the exponents, x and the next square. That's going to give you x to the third. And then negative 5x times 1 is minus 5x. And the answer that actually gives me this is B. Next question. Consider this function. F to the function of x equals x times 18 minus x. What are the values of f0, f5, and f18? This is very, very, very easy, guys. When they tell you about anything like this, in the place of x, they put numbers. That means plug in those numbers in the place of x. My equation is x times 18 minus x. So when I add 0, put 0, no matter what I do, it's going to end up being 0. When I put 5 times 18 minus 5 is 13. 5 times 13 will give me 65. So 18 minus 18 will make this a 0. Still going to be a 0. So my answer will be C. Question number 3 is a geometry question, and it's asking us the circumference of the circle given the triangle inside. Those of you who made yourselves familiar with the special triangles, 3, 4, 5 triangle, this is no different than a 6, 8, 10 triangle. So my diameter is 10. And all they're asking me is that, do I know 3, 4, 5 triangles? Can I tell the proportions from it? And the rule, the formula for circumference is pi times the diameter. And in this case, it would be 10 pi. Next question. On a coordinate plane, a single transformation will be performed in the square RSTU. So I have a square RSTU. Select 3 transformations of the square RSTU that would result in a congruent figure. So when they tell me that congruent figure, what is a congruent figure? I should just think about that. What is a congruent figure? Congruent figure, if 2 figures are congruent, then they are exactly the same shape. So they are exactly the same size. So it should not be any changing of the size if they need to be congruent. They can look different, but that doesn't mean that like the shape can be shifted, rotated, etc. But that doesn't mean that they are not congruent. So I'm going to look at these options, what makes them congruent. And it says select 3 transformations that would make incongruent. So a translation 3 units up and 8 units to the right. Definitely, because there is no dilation. That's what I'm looking at. The only transformation that I know that's going to change this scenario is dilation. So I'm going to see if there is any dilation is happening. A rotation. Sure. Dilation. Let's see. Maybe they might be talking about The dilation by a scale factor of 1. That means you are not changing. So your answers are A, B, and C. Dilation of 1.5, changing my size. -2, still changing my size. Next question, number 5, is consider the systems of equations. What value of h makes the system of equation true? Which means, what is the value of h? So, I have h plus c equals 2.25, and then I have h minus c equals 1.75. Guys, this is pretty straightforward. Add these two because the negative and the positive c's will be canceling each other out. So I'm going to end up with 2h equals 225 plus 175 equals 450. Divide by 2 on each side. H equals 2.25. This is a short answer question, guys. Next question is another one that I need to combine, distribute, I'm sorry. Or maybe not. Next question is asking me which of those followings are equivalent. So from what I see is before it was distributed. So I got to undistribute these things. So 4k to the fourth, 4k squared times k squared would give me 4k to the fourth, and then 4k squared times 4k would give me 60, and 4k to the third. Yep. 4k squared times 2 would give me 8, but this one is 10, so it's not going to work. 2 times 2 is 4k fourth, yep. 16k to the third, k squared, yep. And 10. That is the correct answer. Alright, continuing our MCAS 2019 10th grade math test. This is a spring version. It's computerized, but I downloaded the PDF file for it. So, number 7 is asking me about an inequality. Consider this inequality: y is greater than or equal to x minus 4. Which of the following graphs represents the solution set to this equality? The first thing when I see an inequality in a multiple choice test, I look at this sign. This sign is giving me that my line is either going to be a dashed line or a solid line. Well, because this has an equal, it's going to be the solid line. So I'm going to eliminate all the answers that does not have the solid. It doesn't have the solid line. It doesn't have the solid line. The next thing I'm looking at is, because this is more like a y equals mx plus b slope-intercept form of a linear equation, and the easiest number I can pull out is, in this case, my y-intercept, which is -4. And I'm looking at which of these equations, which of these graphs intercepts the y-intercept on -4. And there it is. This one is on +4. This one is on -4. And because at this point it's not important because we already got the answer, but because my question is telling me greater or equal to, I'm looking at my y values because y is greater or equal to. I'm looking at all my y values up and down. In between this, if I take this line as my reference line, which side, above or below of this y-axis, has the greater or equal to numbers? And that is above my line, all of this area. Alright, next question, number 8. It's giving me an equation of a line and then asking me which line below represents, which equation represents the perpendicular. So perpendicular means the slope of my first one, okay, which is 5. It is the opposite, negative 5, reciprocal, which means opposite and flipped. In other words, this is the opposite, and then flip 1 over negative 5, or negative 1 over 5, the same exact thing. So I'm looking at the equation which has a negative 1 over 5 slope, and that's that.